Bauer's Game Corner presents Gen Con Video Bonanza 2016. Brought to you by Gutshot Games and their Gen Con release, Headhunters, a collectible card game and a collectible toy. And Shoot Again Games, makers of Looting Atlantis and Conspiracy. Look for Pinball Showdown on Kickstarter soon. Also brought to you by the generous support of these companies and our fantastic Kickstarter backers.
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for more of our Gen Con Bonanza Explosion Blog coverage. We're here live at Gen Con 2016. Right now, we are at the Floodgate Games booth. That's what these are called. With Ben, who is El Presidente, correct? You are the top dog, and we're going to be learning about the upcoming Kickstarter Sagrada.
Yeah, this is Sagrada by Daryl Andrews and Adrian Adamescu. It's a dice drafting game where you're crafting a stained glass window to build that out in order to gain the most victory points, to be the best artisan.
So how does it play? Walk us through everything here. What's going on?
Sure. So each player has their own board with the restrictions on it of what's required for each color and shade represented by the numbers on the dice. Players will be drafting these dice in rounds in order to fill out their board. So starting with whoever the start player is, they'll grab 5 dice in a 2-player game, roll them, and then draft one of the dice. So now there's a couple restrictions you need to follow. For instance, here we need to place a 5. Any color is just fine, so that would be good placement for us here. Or if we're looking at the color restrictions, we could place a purple die here. But there's 2 rules you can never break. You can never put 2 dice of the same color next to each other, and never put 2 dice of the same number next to each other. So as you're drafting, you need to be aware of those restrictions, so you're planning for the future actions that are coming. So let's say this player's going to draft one of the dice here. Then in player order, we're going to go to this next player, and they're going to draft a die onto their player board. And it's a snake draft, so this player's actually going to draft 2. Now you have to build out from the dice you've already drafted, and then we'll come back to this other player, and then they'll draft 1 more. You might be wondering, why in the world are we doing this, besides the fact that it's fun to place dice? We've got a whole bunch of variable end-game scoring conditions. So for having each row without repeated colors, you're going to gain 6 points. For each row without repeated shades, the number on the die, you're going to gain 5 points. And then again for columns without repeated colors, 5 points there. These are variable, so that changes up the game quite a bit. Every game's going to have a different set of scoring conditions. And so this remaining die will go on a round track to keep track of what round we're at in the game. There will be 10 rounds in every game. And we'll continue passing the dice bag, drafting dice as we go. These player boards end up getting pretty restricted by the time we've drafted a whole bunch of dice. As you can see, not breaking those rules becomes really hard. So what we do is each player starts with some favor tokens, and we're going to use these to pay for the tools that are available to help us break those rules. This one, for instance, lets us shift one of our dice around in our board, ignoring the shade restriction. So we can maybe shift this 5 over to cover up the 2 if we need to rearrange things to get a little more flexibility. That'll cost us one of our favor tokens in order to do that, placing it on the card. Now, the first time you use one, it only costs 1. Each subsequent time, it's going to cost 2 in order to use them. So you're encouraged to use them early as you go. We have a whole bunch of these tool cards too, so that also changes up. Yeah, tons of variability between these two. And the game state doesn't change much in terms of what you're expecting here, so it's easy to plan around, but creates a fresh new experience every time. Each player also has a private objective, so every player is going for the most pips of a particular color that they can. This gives you a little bit of mystery as to how you're going to plan on winning, because you don't share this with your opponents. And then it always makes the players feel like they're still in the game, which is really fun. Game plays in about 30 minutes per player. It's 2 to 4 players, and we do have a 1-player variant as well.
And when did you say this was coming to Kickstarter?
We're doing Kickstarter on September 12th.
Do you have a tentative idea of how much just getting the base game will cost?
Nothing yet, but if you check out the project, we'll have it all on there, and Kickstarter is always appreciated to get people's support.
All right. And if they're more interested in Sagrada or any of the other Floodgate games, where should we send them?
Floodgategames.com, or you can check us out on Twitter.
Thank you very much, Ben. That is the upcoming Kickstarter for Sagrada. Looks very cool, very beautiful. Lots of variability. Looks really awesome. Was not on my radar, and now it is. But if you enjoy the Gen Con coverage, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below. And in the comments below, let me know, Housefire, what is one of the first things you're going to grab that you don't need but you really want? You don't need but you really want.
Oh, man. as much as I can of my game collection.
That's decent. That's a lot, though.
I have wide arms, though.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, as bad as that is, that's probably what I'm grabbing too. What have we become?
I love it.
You know what? Yeah, I probably would. But let me know in the comments below. As always, thanks for your time, YouTube.
This was brought to you by Headhunters from Gunshot Games, Pinball Showdown from Shoot Again Games, these great companies, and fans like you.